This conference will now be recorded.
Lol. Yesterday we have seen about. Let me share my screen. Yes. So yesterday we have seen how like what is SQL Server, like SSIS, SSAS, RS, and what this is called in the cloud, and how cloud is different from on-premise, and walk through SQL Server. This is what we have seen, and where all the databases are created, and where the tables are created, how database diagrams can be done. So those things we have seen. Not only that, if I'm not wrong, we have also seen about the flow of data, right? Raw stage to the visualization stage. From stage 1 to stage 9, how the data flows, and where ETL comes into picture, and where analysis comes into picture, and where visualization comes into picture. These are all we have seen already. Okay. Now, today, we will see a pure SQL. Okay. So, what actually the SQL does? What are all the commands we have in the SQL? What are the different kinds of languages we have inside the SQL? See, languages are nothing but the commands we have. Some DDL commands, DML, TCL, DCL, and DQL. These are the commands. So inside DDL, we have some other commands. Inside DML, we have some other commands. Let us see all those in detail. Okay. So before going to see the DDL, let me give you a quick recap on flow from raw layer to the visualization layer. So stage one, business case evaluation, right? Which means raw data will be coming. So raw data means what? Duplicated data, no cleaning of the data, no filters, um nothing. So just raw layer. We have some uncleaned data, we have duplicated data, we have empty records, we have some bad records, everything in the business layer. Once we get that data, we are going to identify the data, like what are all the bad records we have in the data, what are all the incomplete records we have, what are the records that are duplicated, and what are the things that have to be cleaned. All those things we will be identified in the identification layer, which is stage 2. Once identification was done, we will be doing some filtering. Like I said, we will have duplicated data, and also repetition of the data. If that is the case, we will not perform, better ETL things, better analysis, better visualization. If we have unfiltered data, if we have some bad records. Okay. Now what we are going to do, we are going to filter the data. So where? In the database itself. So once we have filtered in the database itself, now the data is somehow cleaned. Now the data is somehow ready for what? Analysis or visualization, or some ETL things if we want, we can do some transformations. So we have filtered the data. We have in that data in the database. Now we are going to perform some ETL, which means data will be extracted from the different sources, and that will be transformed, which means aggregation, representation, and everything. So once the data get extracted, data will be validated, and data, we will be performing some transformations on top of data, and we will be analyzing that data. Once analysis was done, see, we have some analysis servers as well. So what we are going to do in that analysis servers, we are going to analyze the data. Do you think analyze the data means we are going to think about the records we have? No. The moment I say data analysis, analysis server, we are going to have some KPIs, we are going to have some relationships, we will be maintaining some cardinality between the tables, where data will be extracted from the warehouse. So what is the data warehouse? Where data will be stored in one format, that we are going to do in the analysis. So once analysis was done, we will be getting it to the visualization. You can directly get it from data warehouse to the visualization, or you can directly get it from analysis service. Anything is fine. Once visualization was done, the end user means who? Business user. Business user will see the results. He don't know the query language, he don't know analysis server, about analysis server, he don't know about any ETL. What he know is, he will just see the graphs or a visuals that we have put it on the dashboard, that he will see, and he will analyze his business, whether he wants to continue the same business next year, or he want to change some, he want to have some changes in that business, or else any loss or any profit, or which store is getting profit, which store is getting loss. So that we are going to, sorry, business user is going to see. So this is how data will be traveled from raw layer to this visualization layer. This is the thing we have seen yesterday. Now, without any delay, let us all move into the concept of DDL. So, before that, I request you to download SQL Server Management System, sorry, Studio. Okay, I have already posted those steps in the group, right? Please go through those steps and make sure that you have installed that. Okay, fine. Now, let me give an overview on the SQL. So, SQL statements are classified into five languages, namely, these are the five languages we have in the SQL. So, these language we also called as statements, commands, anything is fine. Now, data definition language. Data definition language is nothing but you're talking about the structure of the table. Definition, see, structure means what? Definition, right? So data definition language means if you are talking about the structure of the table, then it is nothing but a data definition language. So data manipulation language means if you are talking about, see, in the word itself, manipulation means what? Changing, or else some changes that are applicable on top of the table. So if you are talking about changes that are applied on top of the table, then it is nothing but in data manipulation language. So you are manipulating the table, which means sometimes you are inserting the records, sometimes you are updating the records, sometimes you are deleting the records. So those three commands will be seen in the data manipulation language. Data control language. See, the word itself is telling control. You are going to control the flow of data between the users. That can be done by using data control language. Okay? Now, transaction control language. You are going to control the transactions. What does transaction mean? See, insert, update, delete. These three are the transactions. See, generally, uh, in the banks, we will see, right? These are the two transactions you have done. These are the three transactions you have done recently. These are the words we will be seeing if we visit bank account. Okay. So, what does transactions exactly mean? So the moment a bank employee says about bank transaction, what does it actually mean? The withdrawal of the money and the deposit of the money that he is talking about. The same thing happens here also. If you are talking about insert command, update command, and delete command. So, for example, in a table, you have deleted some records, you have updated some records, you have inserted some records, you know, you have done all these three things in your table. Then these three commands are nothing but a transactions. So you're going to control these transactions. Control these transactions. What does it mean? See, sometimes you have to save the changes. Sometimes the records which you have inserted are wrong, but you have forgot what are the records you have inserted. But you want to get back. You want to undo all those records, which means you have to remove all those records which you have entered recently. For that, we are going to have some transaction control language. You're going to control those insert commands, update commands, and delete commands. Now, data query language, which I feel DQL, data query language, is a what? Heart of an SQL. See, can a person live without a heart? No, absolutely no. So, this is where DQL stands for. You're creating something in the database, fine. You're manipulating something in the database, fine. You're controlling transactions as well. But do what happens if you do all those things? Finally we have to fetch the data, right? So that is where I was telling you, data query language is a heart of an SQL, where there are only one statement, that is select statement. The whole SQL is going to run on the select statement itself. See, a simple thing I will tell you, data definition language will take 2 days of time, manipulation language will take of course 2 to 3 days of time, control and transaction will take 1 day of time, 1 to 2 days of time. But remaining 30 to 35 days, DQL language. You may get doubt. Bhavya, you said only one command we have. That one command, does it take 35 days? My answer will be yes. Yes, it will take. See, I said only one command we have, but inside that one command, so that is what we have to think about. Yes, without any delay, we will see a data definition language, DDL, right? Now, DDL. DDL means what? What is the abbreviation for DDL? Data definition language. So what does this is going to do? What does it doing? It is going to talk about the structure of the table, right? So how we can talk about structure? We will be creating the structure, correct? So after creating structure, I feel like I have missed one column. Okay. So I have created one table successfully. After that, I was thinking I have missed one column. Do I want to delete the table and do I want to create the table again? Hey guys, if you want to delete the table again and again, I'm telling you, right? It is not a good practice. See, right now you don't have any data inside your table. That is where you're going to drop your table and you're going to create the table again. What if you have data inside it? If you drop the table, whole data will be, changed. Whole data will be dropped. So, dropping a table after creating is not a good thing until unless it is necessary. So, what I will suggest, we have one command of alter. So, we are going to alter the table. ALTR, alter. You know, right? Altering means what? Fitting. See, sometimes you want to drop the table. So, we have some drop command. We have some truncate command. I will tell you what is truncate and what is drop. See, these are all only the four commands we have in the DDL. So let us see in detail about create, alter, drop, and truncate. See, there is a beautiful difference between drop and truncate, guys. I will tell you that one. So let me create a database now. So how we will be creating a database? A simple syntax. Let us take a new query here, or else we will use this one. Okay. So what is the command to create database? See, if you want something to be comment out, so you have to take hyphen symbol, two times hyphen, or you can take many times. So you can give here to create database. So what is the command we have? Create database. Database name you have to give. See, that's all. This is the command you have. Did you feel any difficulty here? Create database name. This is the syntax you're going to use to create database. Let me take here. Okay. Okay. Now let me create one database. Create database. What is the database name? Let me take db underscore 6. See, command completed successfully, which means database created successfully. Do you think the database was created inside their master database? So whatever the database it has selected here, only for database I'm telling. So whatever the database it was selected here, the moment you create a database, a new database will be created separately. New database. Okay, let me refresh this one. How we are going to refresh this? Right click on the database. We have something called refresh option. So refresh, expand this one. See here you have DB6. This is the database right now I just created. So inside this database, expand the database. See, these are all the things I have inside a database. The moment you create a database, this is how it is going to create. It is a simple command. What you have told to the database, hey database, create a separate hey server, create a separate database for me. That is what you have told to this server. What server has done? It has created one beautiful database for you with all these features. Okay. So before going to create a table, we will just see what are data types and what are constraints. Because if you are trying to create a table, data types and constraints are mandatory. You have created database successfully. Keep like this. So let us see what are the data types we have and what is meant by constraints. So which is mandatory and which is not. The structure of the data, something related to this. Very nice. See, data type is an attribute that specifies what kind of that a column holds. See, data type, the moment itself, it is indicating a type of the data. Let me tell you one thing. You have created a beautiful table. So, you can't create a table without columns, right? You cannot simply write a statement, create table name. No, you can't, because when we call it as a table, generally by seeing what we called something as a table, if we have some columns, if we have some rows, then we can call it as a table. Okay. Now, columns means what? Those columns are going to hold some data. Let's say I have a table called EMP. So inside the EMP table, I have employee ID, employee name, and employee phone number. Now, employee name, which is of varchar. How can I know it is a varchar? See, name is nothing but an characters. Correct? Characters means what? Alphabets. So if you are talking about alphabets, if you want to store the names of particular person, particular address, name of an institution, name of a location, name of a department, anything, anything that includes alphabets, then we are going to indicate that column as an varchar. To store character type of things, what we are going to do? We are going to use, let me take like this, data types. To store, what we are going to store? Is tell me what we are going to store. Yes, you know. To store characters, to store alphabets, to store names, to store address. See, address includes alphabets, right? So varchar. To store characters, alphabets, and so on, we are going to use varchar, varchar of some size, comma char, comma n varchar. I will tell you the difference between all those things. See, these all three things are used to store alphabets. Now, let's say I have phone number. Phone number will be only integers, right? Phone number will not contain alphabets. So, to store only integers, we have something called int data type. To store integers, we have something called int. You know what is meant by integers? Those are nothing but an numbers, only numbers. Now, to store date, to store date. So generally we will be having date column, right? Joining date, ending date, like that. So those dates can be stored in the date column. To, to store date, to store date, we have something called date data type. We have date data type. Okay. Now, to store salary. salary is also integers, no worries in that. But if you want your salary should be stored in the form of money, then you're going to take money data type. Okay. To store salary kind of columns, what we have something called money data type. Money data type. See, these are all the basic data types we are going to have. So let us see in detail about how it is going to store. Okay. And what is the main difference between varchar, char, and nvarchar? Let us see that those things all. Now, it is clear that if you want to store integer kind of data, then we are going to use int. Date kind of data, date. And salary kind of data, if you want something to be mentioned in the form of money, then you can take money data type. Now let's come to this varchar. See, uh, before discussing about varchar, let us see the char here. Char is nothing but if you want to store only single digit alphabet. What? If you want to store single digit alphabet, let's take you have a gender column which you will be storing only F and M, male and a female. So in the gender column, you will be storing only one alphabet, right? In that case, you can choose char. Why, Bhavya? Why we have to take only char? Because I will tell you a main reason for it. See, char. Let me give you a simple example. I want to store Bhavya into the column. Let's take I have a table of column I have. So in that column I want to store Bhavya, name Bhavya. I want to store name Bhavya. For but for this column, it was having varchar, sorry, char data type, char type. So char of some size I have given, char of 10 I have given. Okay, size you have to mention. Remember that. Otherwise, you will not get a perfect results. Okay. Now, char of 10 you have given. Now you are storing Bhavya into that. Now, um, how many what places char is allocating for this particular column? 10 places, right? So let us see what are those 10 places. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. These are all the 10 places that char has allocated in the backend. Now, here it is storing Bhavya, here it is storing B, here it is storing H, here it is storing A, V, Y, A. See, these are up to here, it has stored nicely. So, we are left with 3 places. See, the moment you have chosen to use char data type for that particular column, up to here it got fitted. So the remaining space, this is the remaining space, right? So this remaining space will be wasted. Will be wasted. Sure for it. See, now this is the case of Bhavya, and that too we have taken only care of 10. See, sometimes some people names will not be only 10, it will be beyond 10. So let me take a 15 here. So maximum limit was 15. Up to 15 you can enter. So here I have something called 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Let me take all those things. Okay. Now this is the place wasted in case of Bhavya. Now the same thing happens good for, yes. See, here you have something called not ye. You have something called Bhavi.